Hello and welcome to Tim Conley Drums live stream. Tuesday night. Sometimes I get a little confused as to what day of the week it is. I'm just going to wait for a few people to join in here because I do know that there are some people that are interested in joining this stream tonight to discuss a little bit about modern music. So, we want to discuss tonight what is wrong. excuse me. What is wrong with modern music? I got my apple cider here, so I got something to drink. So, what is wrong with modern music? Well, there's a lot wrong with modern music. First of all, I want to clarify the discussion that I'm welcoming. I'm welcoming open discussion on this, and if you disagree with me, that's totally okay. Liam says, sounds good. Thank you very much. That's great. I'm glad to hear that we got good sound because that's important. I'm using StreamYard app as a means to communicate this live stream, and it seems to be working well for me. So anyways, what I was saying was this is just my opinion, and I welcome other opinions. I don't get angry about someone disagreeing with me because what's the point? Everybody has an opinion, and this is just mine. But please be aware that my opinion is based on years and years and years, decades of being involved in this industry and being involved in music, performance, recording, touring, playing, teaching, you name it. I've literally done it all in the music industry in terms of drumming, of course, just drumming. I haven't done anything else other than playing the drums. But my opinion is coming from a place of somewhat educated in this field. So I want to talk about how I don't want people to think that, oh, it's just an old man, as Rick Beato would say. And I'm going to talk about Rick Beato a lot because I really like Rick. Rick Beato is a record producer, and he has a YouTube channel, which you should check out. He's a super smart guy, knows a lot about music, and I actually learn a lot from watching his channel. Him and I share similar opinions, though, and that's why I'm referencing a lot of what Rick says. He says that people say he's an old man yelling up at the clouds. Well, yes and no. I'm an old man, not that old, but I'm definitely older, almost 60 years old. I'm 59 years old, and I've been around the block, so I can say things and get away with it because I've been around the block a little bit. So anyways, modern music versus older music. When did the decline begin? Well, I'm going to tell you that the decline began around 1999, and I actually have some notes here to share about this. Let me just find it here. 1999 with Napster. Okay, so I'm actually going to give you guys some Napster information. So the decline of music and how it started to become so awful, because I really think modern music you're listening to today, not all of it, but I'm specifically talking about popular music. There are some great music still being made today and produced, just not in the pop world, R&B world, the rap world, all that. I think it's all just, ugh. And like I said, it's okay if you disagree with me, but I'm going to give you some facts and I'm going to educate you guys. This is a live stream, so I don't have everything memorized, but I did do a lot of research on this topic. It's my opinion combined with actual research that I did. So Napster came into existence in 1999 as a peer-to-peer file sharing network developed by two brothers, Sean and John Fanning. And Sean Parker, who went on to become the first president of Facebook. So the three of them. Registration for a Napster account was free. And I remember this. And users had access to free audio files that could be shared with other Napster members. At the time, Napster was a new streaming service, and can you imagine, for those of you that weren't around in 1999 or were too young to remember, Napster, out of the blue, showed up and allowed everyone, as long as you had this account, you signed up for an account, free access to virtually all music being produced. What? This was the beginning of the end, and I'll tell you why. Once people got free access to music, the industry started to die because, of course, artists make money off sales. CD sales was the most popular form of sales in 1999. CDs, vinyl was still somewhat popular, but it was on the decline. Vinyl is second behind downloads, and CDs nowadays are only, I think it's 1.6% of the music sales is CDs now. But in 1999, CDs were probably 70% of the sales, if not higher. Everybody bought CDs back in the 90s. Napster comes along and allows for free music to be given out, and you could listen to any song you wanted. Well, this was the beginning of the end for the CD and vinyl industry. Both of them failed miserably leading into the 2000s, and CD sales never recovered. To this day, CD sales, like I said, very low, just under 2% of purchases now are CD. Now, vinyl has bounced back. I think vinyl is 7% now, if I'm not mistaken. I read this earlier. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it's around 7%. So why has that caused the music quality to drop? Well, it's caused the listener to treat music as something that they can just disregard. For those of you that are too young to know this and don't quite understand this, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, everybody bought records. And when you bought a record, it was an experience. First of all, you had to have a job or money. Your parents had to give you money, or you had to have a job or something to go out and buy all these records. So you'd buy a record, you bring it home, you put it on, you sat, and generally speaking, you listened to the whole thing, and you stared at the record cover. And I have a whole pile of records over here, but I don't have anything handy with me now. And the whole record thing was an experience, and you listened to song after song while you looked at the cover art and the sleeve art. The sleeve was what the record actually came in, and you read it all and you looked at it all while you listened to the music. Well, that is gone. Nobody does that hardly at all anymore, except for older people and diehards like myself. So that was the beginning of the end of music as we know it in terms of quality. Now, what started to happen was a study was taken of almost 1 million recordings between 1955 and 2010. And they ran every single song made in that time period in this study. That's a huge amount of songs. And they ran it through a complex set of algorithms, and they discovered three key things that I'm going to educate you guys about right now as to why music has declined so badly over the decades to the point now where it's almost, in my opinion, unlistenable. The first thing is timbral diversity. Second thing is harmonic complexity. And the third thing is loudness. So timbre, if you want to call it, is the texture, color, and quality within the music being listened to. So timbre is the quality that you're hearing, the orchestral sounds, the incredible harmonies and melodies, rhythmic patterns, and everything that you're hearing within a sound. Well, they have slowly declined and declined and declined to the point where it doesn't hardly even exist. The second thing is harmonic complexity. So the melodies and rhythms and vocals and songs have started to sound very, very similar. A lot of the songs have the similar sounds, as opposed to older songs where you're listening to every single song has a new sound, a new vibe. Now, some people would argue that we've used up everything. There's only so many notes that you can play. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that songs have less variety in their instrumentation and recording techniques. Recording, even though it's become much more advanced, the recording itself is quite simple, because back, I mean, you know, people still record drums live, but with the invention of the drum machine, and I know what you're thinking, oh, he's a drummer, he hates drum machines. Not true. I did go through a period where I hated drum machines and I thought they were going to put me out of work. But I've learned to grasp onto the drum machine, and I actually love a lot of songs that have a drum machine groove in them. The very first drum machine song, I can't remember what it was, but it was probably around 1978 or 79, and it was like a new wave pop song. I can't remember exactly what artist was the very first one to use a drum machine, but drum machines were easier to use in so many ways than setting up drums, tuning drums, getting them to sound right, getting them to not ring as much. Like, recording drums is a big deal. There's no doubt about it. But in my opinion, nothing beats a live drum sound. I don't care what anybody says. A live drum sound is the way to go. Now, a lot of bands still use live drum sounds, but not in pop. In pop, R&B, rap, any of the modern, massively consumed music, it's almost all drum machines, keyboards, very poor lyrics, and simplified rhythmic, sonic, harmonic, and melodic patterns. That is the bottom line, is that the music has gotten so much simpler. So another thing is, the modern pop songs, they use a very similar, almost exact same in a lot of cases, sequence of notes in a given key. So it'll go from the root to the fifth to the third, back to the fifth, maybe back to the root. So for those musicians out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's less harmonically complex. When I posted this, that I was doing this live stream on Facebook, one of my friends that I went to music school said to me in his comment that melodies have become so simple, harmonies have become so simple, and rhythmic patterns are right down to the most basic. Everything is at its most basic now, that there's no timbre. There's no colorization. It's all the same for the drum machines. And the trap beats, which I despise the trap beat. And my son, Liam, played a song for me when we were going away camping, and it had a trap beat in it, and it was a country tune. And I was devastated. I just couldn't believe it. Even country music has now embraced the dreadfully hated trap beat. The other super popular beat that is used in pop music and every other song, again, there's just no diversity. It's the same beats. It's either a trap beat or the reggaeton. Reggaeton. Now, the reggaeton is actually a calypso beat from the Caribbean, and it's an awesome feel, but it's just overused to the point where, oh my God, the reggaeton. It's like the dreaded reggaeton beat and the dreaded trap beats. Those are the two drum beats that popularize modern music. And that's what makes modern music so boring. They're using the same beats. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is loudness. That's the third subject here. So the loudness, what's happened is compression is being used heavily. Compression creates a louder sound, and it's used intentionally to make songs louder using the compression in the studio, boosting the quiet parts of a song so that they match the loudest parts. That reduces the dynamic range between loud and soft. So we've lost dynamics. That's the other big, huge thing, is that we have lost dynamics. The entire song now sounds louder. There's no quiet parts. And even if it is quiet, it's still loud. So the industry now wants every song to stand out. Let's compress the hell out of it so we can make this song louder than the last song. That's why you'll hear some songs with that bass where it's boom, 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 crazy bass. And because they want to make one song louder, just keep getting louder and louder and louder, what does that affect? That reduces the timbral quality of the song. So the color, the melody, the rhythmic structures, the beautiful harmonies, counterpoint, all the wonderful things that make up fantastic, lush songs. So let me show you another way. Modern music is like looking at the desert. Music back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s for that matter, is like looking into a lush and tropical jungle with many, many, many different colors and animals and sights. And there's so much going on visually and sonically. There's so many sounds that it's almost overwhelming, but it's beautiful at the same time. Whereas in the desert, it's stark, it's one sound, it's wind. That's how I see modern music, is that starkness. The timbral harmonies and dynamics and everything of the past music is gone. Modern music just generates the same tune over and over and over and over again. Now, I can't remember, I think Max Martin is one guy. I can't remember the other guy. There's two guys that write all these pop songs. One is from Sweden, I think that's Max Martin, and then there's an American guy. And they write all the songs. So you've got no timbre in the music. You've got songs sounding over and over and over the same beats, which is the trap beat and the reggaeton. And of course, you've got your standard boots and cats, boom, gat, boom, gat, boom, gat. And the dance beat, boom, 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 gat, boom, boom, boom. 4 on the floor. Those beats are still alive and well in the music. But that's it. There's nothing beyond that. Those 4 beats cover just about everything. So the drumming is freaking lame. Really lame. The harmonies, the counterpoint, the lushness, it's all gone. So what do we have? What are we left with? We're left with soulless music. So let's talk about lyrics. The lyrical quality has gotten worse over the last 10 years. Lyrics have become more and more mundane, simplified, and stupid. And the reason is technology allows music fans to have access to so many songs that today's pop songs are just laden with hooks that appear in a song as soon as possible, and the lyrics of a song are diminished. Now, if you want to listen to a song with absolutely brilliant lyrics, which I don't have them here in front of me, but Rick Beato was talking about this in one of his videos. He compared a modern day artist, I can't remember who the artist was, against a Beatles song in terms of lyrics. And the modern day song, and I realize that sometimes reading lyrics can make the song sound kind of dumb because the lyrics, but if you listen to the lyrics and read the lyrics from the song Across the Universe by the Beatles, I'm getting chills just thinking about how great the lyrics are in that song. So what I want you to do, please, after you watch this, go and listen to the song Across the Universe by the Beatles and try to get a version where you can read the lyrics. The lyrics are amazing. Now, my family members and anyone that knows me is watching this, they're going to say, you're a Beatles fan, of course you like it. Yes, I am a Beatles fan, and I've been a Beatles fan since I was 3 years old when I first heard them in my sister Brenda's bedroom. But that's not important in terms of what I'm talking about here today, whether I'm a fan or not. What's important is take a look at some lyrics of songs today. They just don't have anything in pop music. Now, some country songs still have good lyrics and meaningful lyrics. My son played me some Luke Combs and some other artists recently, and he likes country music a lot. Country music still has some interesting lyrical content because basically great lyrics are lyrics that touch your heart. That's the soul part of music. Lyrics that touch your heart, that make you feel something. Feel angry, feel happy, you feel sad, you want to cry even. You get anxious, you get nervous. Whatever the feeling that you get when you listen to a song and you listen to the lyrical content and the lyrics affect you, that's when you know you're dealing with a really good song. Country music still has some of those elements. Now, one thing about country that I'm not a huge fan of is a lot of the songs do sound quite similar. It's very formulaic, and the songs have a similar formula, and you can almost tell when they don't diverse a lot from the form of the tune. It's pretty much similar in most of their songs, but some of the lyrics still touch your heart. If you listen to a lot of pop tunes, they're soulless. There is nothing to them. Also, they're completely forgettable. I want to know if anyone, without looking it up, can tell me the top 5 songs that are being streamed right now in the top 40. You know how we always have a top 40 every week? I believe it's weekly that a top 40 is released. If you can name 5 tunes, I can't name one. But then again, I didn't research it. I didn't look it up. Well, actually, I did look it up, but I can't remember any of the artists because they're forgettable. They're all forgettable. If you were to look at the top 5 or top 10 artists of, say, let's just throw it out there, 1975, you knew all the artists. The kids knew all the artists at the time. Now, I'm not saying the kids today don't know their artists, because they probably do, but they're forgettable artists. The Beatles, they're not forgettable. The Rolling Stones, certainly not forgettable. Deep Purple, I could list a million bands of old that are completely not forgettable, and people can still name songs from them. People that don't even know anything about music can still name songs. If you were to walk up to somebody on the street, 25 years of age, and say, name 3 songs right now that are popular, they would struggle. You might run into somebody that can name them because they're into music. But if you walked up to somebody on the street in 1985, if you ran into me in 1985, I could list off 25 tunes that were popular at the time, that, because kids were into music more. That's my next topic. Kids today, they're just not interested in music. The interest level is low. The reason is, when you go on your phone, you can shift through song after song after song. Remember earlier I was talking about how you had to go and buy a record? You bought the record, you brought it home, you put it on, even a CD for that matter, even though the record is more the natural experience, but CD was somewhat similar, but not as good as a record. But nowadays, there's nothing. You can listen to a million songs, and it costs you what? $9.99 a month on Spotify? I don't know what the price is exactly, but For 10 bucks, you can get millions of songs. I used to have to pay 10 bucks to get a record with a dozen songs on it. And the dozen songs were a dozen of the best songs you ever heard. But now it's just firing through. You see people just firing through song after song after song. The other thing about pop music, rap music, top 40, it's on the radio, you listen to it for a little while, then it's gone and it's forgotten. It does not stick around. None of it sticks around. It has zero shelf life. Stairway to Heaven. The Beatles, Let It Be, Something. I mentioned Across the Universe. The shelf life on these songs is enduring. I still listen to music, Mozart, Beethoven, Haydn, Chopin. Incredible music that's hundreds and hundreds of years old, but it's such good music that it's going to stick around. Is any of this Katy Perry or Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake or Beyonce or any of this, is it really, really lasting and a song that really stands out? Do any of these artists have any of these songs that really stand out? Not really. I mean, again, my age does factor in to some extent, but because I'm a drum teacher and I'm having to teach kids drums, I am hip to the modern music scene. Plus, I have 2 young kids and they educate me. Hey, my son's always saying, hey, you need to check this Frank Ocean guy out. You need to check out the new Bruno Mars song. Now, Bruno Mars is a slight exception because I think Bruno Mars actually is still doing some decent music, and I actually like Bruno Mars. I think he's a talented guy. And all the super talents, Michael Jackson, Prince, you know, all the incredible Michael Hutchence, you know, I could name a million artists that are dead, that are no longer with us. And we only have them in record, CD, and downloadable forms now to listen to them. But these iconic artists, we're not creating any iconic bands and artists now. There's just nobody coming up that's really huge and really exciting. Like when I watch these award shows, they make me laugh because I don't even know who any of these people are. And I'm in the industry. And like I said, I teach a lot of young kids. I have 40 students a week. Most of them are kids. And they're always talking to me about new music and new artists. And I'm open to checking them out. They say I want to learn the drum beat from such and such a song. I listen to the song. 99% of the time, it's electronic drum, or it's a drum machine off of a keyboard or something like that, or it's sampled and it's not live drums, but I still try and teach them the groove. What I try to do with my students is I try to get them to listen to music that actually has real instruments and live drums. That is something that I try to do to try to keep the music alive. So I know that I'm going on and on and on, but I had to make my point here, coming on here. Unfortunately, I have not had anyone pipe up and make a comment about what they think about the modern music. But after this live stream is done and this goes to YouTube, please feel free to comment on what I've said today and what your opinion is. You know, maybe the music hasn't died for you. Maybe it's still burning in your heart, and it's something that you still love and enjoy. But I want to tell you something also. Music school that I went to is closing. Mohawk College and McMaster University here in the city that I live in are both shutting down their music programs. The reason is they're not making any money, because nobody is interested in learning and putting the time and effort and hard work into learning an instrument. It is very, very difficult to learn an instrument, and you have to put 10,000 hours in to get really, really good. People are not willing. That's the scrolling. They just go to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. They do not put the time and effort in that's required to get good at something. Laziness has set in to this society so brutally that music is suffering, artistry is suffering, and it's statistically proven that music is not as important to people anymore as what it used to be. That's statistically proven. Google it. The facts are there. People do not listen to music as much. Now, where are you getting those facts from? Well, I'll tell you how people are not listening to music, because they're on their devices. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on all kinds of different social media. And when they're on social media looking at TikTok videos and people dancing and stupid cat videos and whatever, they're not listening to music, they're not practicing their instrument. That's the reality. So people have gotten lazy. Social media has caused the society to diminish in terms of its passion and desire to want to learn an instrument. Now, there's lots of people who advertise online. I'm one of them, my YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, teaching the instrument and how to play it. But I encourage you right now, if you really want to learn an instrument, get a teacher. Go out and play live. Get a teacher to show you in person how to play your instrument, whatever the instrument is that you want to learn. Keep music alive, keep real instruments alive, and stop just programming everything. Get out and play some real instruments. And I encourage you to listen to music with real instruments and get away from the trap beat, the reggaeton, and the garbage music that's out there, and try to branch out and listen to some great music with real instruments. Now, in the metal genre, we still have live instruments. In the country genre, to some extent, even though it's sneaking in, we still have real instruments. In modern day R&B and popular style music, instruments are dying out, and programming of music and programming of beats and instruments is taking over, which really saddens me. It breaks my heart. So on that sad note, I'm going to leave you guys. I'm a little bit sad because I was hoping people would want to interact with me. I purposely came up with this topic hoping to get a live stream interaction. Now, I was just going to do a video doing exactly what I just did, talking about and explaining why modern music has diminished and why it's so bad compared to music of old. I was going to do a video, but then I thought it would be fun to interact with my viewers and get them to actually put comments up that I could tap and interact with. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So anyways, I hope that you guys who are going to watch this video later get something from it. Please comment, like, subscribe to my channel, and let's keep music alive. All right, take care, and as always, keep drumming. See ya.